I'm in the Deseret newsroom over here. See that? That's the newsroom, and I'm with Jeffery Allred. Do you like to go by Jeffrey or Jeff?
Either one is fine.
Either one works.
Yeah.
But Jeff, he didn't go all the way on the wagon train, but he was part of the wagon train quite a bit, and he put together
that book.
The Great Trek.
Great Trek. Got a nice cover, nice back cover. The beginning and the end. How about that?
So tell me about your experience on the trail.
Oh my gosh. So it's great to look back and think 20 years ago this book came out. But I probably spent about a month of the 3 months photographing the event. What a great experience it was. I loved it. And there were some incredible moments. There was births, there was engagements, there was a crash. I think that was probably the coolest thing I shot, was the big wagon crash at East Canyon.
Yeah.
Which turned into a nice series.
So
luckily no one was hurt.
As a news photographer, you got the shot of the day, right? I mean, that was the shot of the week, wasn't it?
I would say
nationwide.
I think it could go down as a decade kind of shot, because no other still photographer that I know of got this. There was some video of this event, but I was just at the bottom of the hill waiting for them to come down past East Canyon. I had a 400 millimeter. Back then this was all shot with film, no digital. And my lens was manual focus. So this 400 millimeter on a Nikon F5, I just remember hearing a scream. The wagon came careening down, the driver was thrown off, the mules were spooked, people were flying out of the thing, and the wagon was just disintegrating. But I remember just thinking, staying calm, collected, shooting, set the 400 down, grabbed a 200 just as the horses veered off to my left, and got them tumbling. And I was just glad I didn't get trampled. How about that?
So there's more than these shots that we see in here, right? You
have So everything here follows the progression from winter quarters all the way through the Great Salt Lake City return. And there was dancing, people walked, people rode, rode horses, they rode in covered wagons. It was just kind of fun to chronicle. As a photojournalist, it was fun to just shoot and document this whole event.
Was there some part of it that was newsy and modern, and was there some of it where it really took you back?
People have asked me that all the time. How did I relate to this? I mean, I'm an observer. I'm a documentary photographer, but at the same time, I had relatives that made this original journey in 1847, and so I've got a 5th great-grandfather, I've got a 6th great-grandfather that walked that entire way, 1,111 miles. And so it really touched my heart to say, wow, I'm in the same place that William Moore Allred and Isaac Allred walked with their families. And so it was not only fun to be a photojournalist on this trail, but it touched my heart because it was my roots.
Now for our Legacy West show, and we did 3 videotapes. We used his photos for the covers. And so we have a shot of Heber Dew gets his mission call out there and is pushing a handcart with his mom. That's one of the cover shots. And then we have Bree Cornell and her husband Jared. And there's this great shot, I think it's over in Wyoming by Fort Laramie or someplace. What do you remember most? What sticks out the most about the wagon train?
Well, for me, it was a logistic nightmare, just for my own personal, professional standpoint. Since I was shooting film, digital was in its infancy, and I had a digital camera and there's maybe 2 digital photos in this whole book. I had to find hot water to develop film every night. And I had to tape off the windows, put Visqueen all over the windows, make it totally dark.
Where would you be, in a hotel room?
In a hotel room. Or a bathroom somewhere at a truck stop. I mean, anywhere I could find something. So I'd process my film, print my film or scan it, and then I'd have to find a telephone line. We didn't have cells that sent photos back then, and the Ethernet really wasn't, it just wasn't there. So we'd have to find a landline dial up, send photos back to Salt Lake. And so that was probably the hardest thing, is trying just to get my images that I just captured back here and in publication.
Because you're in pretty remote areas.
Yeah, we were away from
These are
big
small
cities the whole
towns.
way.
I mean, they didn't have a Kinko's or anything like that.
No. I mean, it's kind of strange to think about that. 20 years ago, we really now you just grab your 7, and I would send my images back with my cell phone. It'd be really easy. I can move my images from my DSLR into my cell phone, and I can text them back. I can email them back. It would be a snap now. But back then, it's developing the film, processing it, printing it or scanning it, and then sending it back. And so it was difficult. That's probably the biggest memory for me, is just the logistic nightmare. But I remember doing some aerials, flyovers. I remember trying to get ahead of the wagon train. So I was always constantly trying to photograph them, but get ahead. And sometimes that was easy. Sometimes it was on a road. Sometimes it was on some trail. And it was a lot of fun. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I wish they would do another one.
What did you learn the most from the experience?
What did I learn? What I learned is I love documentary photography. And so this was a chance to say, I don't have to get one image of this whole thing. I need to get 100 good images. So for me, it was a learning process in loving documentary photo essay. And that was really one of the kind of key moments for me in doing what I still do today, as I try to find projects and document them in a multimedia way, but in a photo essay type of style.
So tell me about the book. That thing kind of happened last minute, and you had like a week or two to put a book together.
Right, yeah. So the reason this book exists is because of President Gordon B. Hinckley. He was on the trek many times. President Monson was out, Elder Ballard, many general authorities were out on the trek here and there. And of course they were here this is the Place State Park at the very end too. But he had to make one comment to one of our editors. He says, "Where is our book?" And so when President Hinckley says that, we snapped to attention, and it took us about 5 or 6 days. We had a designer, Stephanie Brown, design this whole book. I was editing my own photos and placing them. We were both collaborating and trying to figure out what the best stories were. Twila Van Leer, who is an incredible reporter, wrote everything in the book, and of course documented everything for the newspaper along the way too. And so Twila was involved, and we put this thing together in less than a week. Got it printed here in Salt Lake and made 35,000 copies, of which most of them sold. So we didn't try to make money. It was $10. It was $9.95 to buy the book, and our goal was just to get more images out. We wanted to let people see a lot of the photos that normally now on the internet I would put every one of these photos out in a photo gallery form, but back then we didn't have the internet, and the newspapers really didn't have a forum to show more than a couple photos.
But isn't it nice to have something you can hold and remember like that, that's not just on a file?
Yeah, this is going to be around forever, and the internet's around forever too, but this is something that's tangible. It's like a newspaper. You can thumb through it, you can take your time, you can put a bookmark in it, you can set it on your coffee table and refer back, and it brings a lot of memories to me, just kind of looking through this wagon crash in Wyoming. And remember, this is a way farmers mark their fences. They put old boots on there. I think I remember shooting that like it was yesterday. This kid fixing his shoes, and this little boy checking out the big, I don't know what kind of horses those are. They look pretty big though. Belgians maybe, Morgans maybe. But Independence Rock, and it takes you back, and makes me really happy that this book still exists, that a few people still have this. It was a blast. What a great time.
Well, it's good to go down memory lane, and hopefully another event like this will happen. But a lot of people are getting back together for the wagon train reunion, which is going to happen during the days of 47, they're going to be at the fairgrounds.
Great.
It'd be kind of cool to do some before and afters, what they look
Nice.
like 20 years later.
I'm going to be there.
I haven't changed. You haven't changed. You'll be there.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I want to see all of you. And I'm going to shoot a couple more pictures, too. And I'm going to see if I can scrape up a couple more of these books, and I'll hand them out.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks, Jeff.
It's
Awesome.
a pleasure to see you. Thank you
My
for
left hand. Here,
taking
my
me
right.
down memory lane. Yeah, that was fun. Love
Awesome.
talking about this.